Welcome to the Northern Powerhouse interview series, where we're unashamedly spreading good news by interviewing Northern businesses and their successes during the pandemic. Subscribe to be notified of new interviews or click the link in the description to take part if you'd like to be interviewed yourself in a future episode.
Good morning and welcome to Northern Powerhouses Business Success Stories. So we have Lewis and Joshua Papa with us this morning from Apex Mortgage and Protection UK. So good morning, chaps. Thank you ever so much for having a natter with us this morning. We really appreciate it. So can you guys just introduce yourselves and can you tell us a little bit more about what you guys do and how you help your clients?
Yeah, no worries. Josh, you want to lead on
that? Yeah, okay. So we started off just purely doing mortgages and protection, as the company says. So we do all types of mortgages, from helping first-time buyers get on the property ladder, remortgaging on people onto a better rate when they come to the end of their term. And we do a lot with buy-to-let investors. Since lockdown, actually, we've expanded into 3 businesses. So we now have Apex Wills and Trusts. So we do full estate planning for people as well. So from powers of attorney through to trusts, as well as basic wills. And then the third arm of the business is commercial finance. So that's the part of the business that I work with predominantly. Lewis does more of the protection and mortgages. So that's to help developers and any type of business owner, really, for any sorts of funding that they might need, whether it's to buy a new premises, do a development, or ultimately just some working capital to keep the company going in these difficult times.
Amazing, amazing. So how long have you guys been going?
So we've been going as Apex since August 19, is it, Josh?
Yeah, August 19.
So obviously we set this company up. I bought a director out. Josh set it up originally, and we rebranded it. And then we've literally just been going from there and building where we want to be as a business.
Amazing, amazing. So so you started in the back end of 2019, and then shortly after we were all thrown into the madness that we've experienced over the last year. So how's the last year been for you guys?
Yeah, it's been the busiest time we've ever had, really. So going back to when we first bought in, we came up with a business plan in Josh's dining room on a scrap piece of A4 and said, look, this is where we want to be as soon as we can. And I think as soon as the COVID hit, a lot of people stopped, spending on everything else, whereas we threw everything into it. So we increased our marketing. We got in touch with a internal recruiter within our network who has literally helped us grow. So we said, as a bit of a joke, if you can get us 30 advisors, we'll do that. And he was like, yeah, no worries, when do you want them? It was a bit of a just take the bull by its horns, so to speak.
I think as well, when we were speaking to a lot of other companies, they were all thinking about how to reduce costs, whereas we were looking at how can we increase revenue. So rather than looking at it as we need to survive, without sounding corny, it's how can we thrive. So when because we have a shop in Pocklington, it's the only one that we've got within the group, but we got that grant that everybody got who owned a premises. So with that £10,000, we thought, well, what can we do with this to make more money? So off the back of that, that's how we set up the commercial finance business. So we use that money to invest in that, to bring in an extra revenue stream. And I just remember we went on a principals meeting and people who had shops were saying, oh, well, I don't have any footfall, I don't have any customers. And all our thought was, we need to find a new way to get customers. So you increase your marketing. And Lewis is a very good advocate of this. If you're relying solely on one lead source, you're never going to survive as a business, because if that lead source gets turned off, where are you getting your business? So we really did diversify into multiple streams of marketing, and really that's how we've grown.
Yeah, I think the biggest one for us as well, as a company as well, with what we've achieved in our personal lives. Josh, he's got developments that he's done off his own back. With I've been in the military with a commando unit. Obviously, our other partner, he's a silent partner at the moment, but it's UK Special Forces. I think a lot of it for us is the mindset of us being leaders, where we could have just literally just crashed and burned and been victims to circumstance and complain like everyone else, or you can just accept it and use it as an opportunity to maneuver in the business space and just grow and just be good at everything you do. Because and that's what we did really. We just we didn't. I'm not going to say it's all been, roses, because, I think cash flow throughout COVID has been our biggest problem. And I'm sure Josh will agree that at the end of every month, you're pulling your hair out thinking, we're going to be able to pay everyone. But, without any risks, there's no rewards. And, we're a big advocate of mindset, and, nothing great was ever made in a comfort zone. So we just threw everything at it, and hopefully it's going in the right direction.
I think it's absolutely testament to the mindset that you guys have clearly got. I mean, as leaders, throughout this time, what kind of challenges have you guys come across?
A lot of it is with what Josh said about the leads. I think we've had a few advisors that have been solely reliant on one lead source, whether that's a face-to-face networking, done really well from that in the past. Whereas now it's like, how can we get in touch with the people? And, it's no secret that social media, things like this, getting yourself out there is a fantastic way of being able to sell yourself and sell yourself as a business. So that's exactly what we did. We upped our social media spend. We collected good employees from businesses that have been let go. But I think that's, the lead sources is where obviously people struggled. Don't know about you, Josh. Anything to add there?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think trying to keep everybody motivated and come up with ideas. We know we're not perfect, but the good thing is that we brought on some experts in certain fields. So like Lewis said, we're very fortunate that a lot of the estate agents or the banks, they've all been making people redundant because they're all employees. They use the furlough scheme to their advantage, but ultimately they were solely reliant on footfall. As soon as that disappears, they've got no business. So we've been fortunate that a lot of the really good people that were working in those environments have come to join us. We've given them that platform to trade, and they're thriving now because they're not restricted in what they can and can't do. So no, I think trying to just keep those people motivated, because a lot of them when they came to us, they were feeling down about, I'm being made redundant and I don't get any business, etc. So it's just trying to give them ideas and keep them motivated.
How have the team kind of adapted and coped, would you say, over the course of the last year?
I think it's been easier for some people than others. You'll know, Vicky, from some of our previous employments, different people's personality traits, etc. There's a lot of people who do like to get out and about face to face. Those are the sorts of environments that they thrive in. Being sat in isolation at home is really not their strength. Yeah. So we've tried to increase things like the Zoom contacts so that at least they're seeing people face to face. We've tried to encourage them to do things like this or go into virtual networking, so at least they're still getting that people interaction. because, like you say, it's an area where people will suffer, and I mean it shows with the figures of mental health issues. So we've tried to do our best to make sure that during the periods of like August, September, when we were allowed out, we went to see as many people as we could, just to make sure that, you know, they knew we were still there. But when we haven't been allowed out, we've just tried to have as much contact with everybody as we can, just because our advisors, they're self-employed, so they work under our umbrella, but they're self-employed. So it's a very lonely business when you're self-employed. So we've tried to keep that team mentality of, you know, we're in this together, so that hopefully they don't feel isolated.
Brilliant.
Yeah, a good culture in the business as well with the people we brought on. You know, and I think now that we've got the numbers that we have and the experience that we have, we're not we're quite picky with who we bring on now. You know, you got to be a good fit for the business, good fit for the culture, be driven. I think, you know, we've got the sales pitched down to a T now with, you know, Josh, James, the recruitment, and myself. When we're bringing people on, they've got to be the right fit.
Yeah. It's very much a two-way street, isn't it, with recruitment? And, you know, it's like us coming in and being self-employed. You know, it's got to fit both ways. It's not about putting bums on seats. We need the right people who are aligned with our culture and our values and our beliefs, and so we can complement one another.
Yeah.
Amazing. It sounds like you're building a really cool team, and you guys have got a little pipeline as well going on of more advisors who are chomping at the bit to come and join you guys. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll go.
Go on, you go, Josh.
I was going to say, we're actually now getting to the stage where people are coming to us. They're ringing people, like some of our advisors, saying, "Who is it you work for? I've heard really good things. You seem really happy. You seem really busy. Can we speak to them?" So we're in a really lucky position that the work that we've done over the last 12 months, I think we've had 4 or 5 people in the last month, Lewis, ring us up and say, "Can we work for you guys?" Which, you know, this time last year we'll just take anybody on because we've got this vision to grow, and we did make some wrong appointments. You're always going to, but ultimately now we're actually getting good people coming to us who want to work for us, and that's, or work within the business. I wouldn't say it's about us. I'd say it's more about the company itself. And no, we're just really enjoying that side of it.
Brilliant. It says a lot for the employer brand that you've managed to build in such a short space of time.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've definitely had a lot of wins and a lot of positives when it comes to the talent that you've been able to bring on board. So tell us about some of the other wins that you guys have experienced over the last year.
I think with you know, from what we can offer clients, the win for us has been furlough. So furlough came in from the government, and it's so similar to income protection. It's very easy to explain. So we've seen a massive increase in income protection sales because people now have realised how important it is to protect their income due to furlough. So little things like that is a win. I think the stamp duty reduction is another win, because obviously people are like, "Well, do you know what? I can probably get my dream house because I've got a little bit more funds to play with their deposit and not having to pay the stamp." So little things that the government have brought in has helped us, you know, even like proposition insurance products to clients a little bit better in the regards of being able to go, "Well, I don't really know what income protection is," and then you can say, "Well, it's just like furlough. You know, if you're off ill, you're going to get a percentage of your wage till you get better." And yeah, stuff like that have been little wins for us. I don't know if you've got anything else to add, Josh.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's been one of the biggest bonuses for us as a company, because you'll know when someone talks to you about insurance, Vicky, the first thing you think is another insurance salesman. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, or it's just another insurance salesman trying to sell me something. But you know, and unfortunately for the pandemic, it's just brought to light how fragile income and life is. And, you know, people are now realizing, oh, well, for the price of a couple of cups of coffee, I can insure myself and make sure I'm getting 60% of my income. Sometimes up until, well, there's products that will pay up until retirement if you're seriously ill. Or, you know, there's short-term products as well. So, yeah, and I think as well from a business perspective, business owners are now looking at ways, how can I get my employees back to work quicker? So similarly, we're doing quite a lot of private medical insurance for groups, so companies where there might be some key employees that they think, well, if they weren't at work, 40% of our production drops. So we need to make sure that, you know, because the NHS are doing a fantastic job, but if you've got a hip injury or something that's classed as minor at the moment, you'll be waiting 9 months. So not only do they not want to be paying the sick pay for that long, that employee doesn't want to be on statutory sick pay potentially. They'll have a massive drop in income. So it's actually benefited the employer as well as the employees to understand what products are available. And I think it's that's been one of the biggest wins, that the government's actually helped us explain our products more. You don't get a lot from the government, but that's really helped.
I mean, I definitely sit in that bracket that I hadn't had income protection insurance previously until this last few months. It suddenly just becomes so much more apparent that it's so important. And for the first time, I'm now an advocate for it. So I certainly sit in that bracket. I see exactly where you guys are coming from.
It really has helped. Yeah, and you know, the PMI as well, the private medical insurance, you know, beating the queues for the NHS, that's a big selling point. So look, beat the queues, you know, get yourself in there. It's not that expensive, and people, you know, you think, oh, private medical insurance, you're going to be paying hundreds of pounds a month. But
that's the perception I would have had.
And it's not, you know, you can get it, you know, but depending on your age, really, really cheap and affordable. So it's all it's helped us explain it and, you know, really protect our clients properly instead of you know, the standard, oh yeah, I'm gonna go on moneysupermarket.com and get a life and kick policy that I don't really know what it covers, but it just, it was 20 quid, so I'll just pay for it, where it might not be right for you. So having those discussions has really helped.
Brilliant. So, I mean, we've all learned a lot, I think, over the course of the last year. We've had to adapt. What would you guys say was your biggest, sort of your key learning from the last year?
That's a tough one.
I think the biggest thing from a business perspective has got to be, for me, is don't rely on one source of income or one source of leads. I think that's got to be the biggest, because you'll know as a business coach yourself, 80% of people's revenue tend to come from 20% of their clients. So if those 20% disappear, suddenly your business is probably non-sustainable. So you've got to try and get it so that you've got a balanced book of business where you're not solely reliant on such a small majority of your clients. So I think the biggest learning for us was when we did that diversification into the wills and trusts as well as the commercial finance. You know, we're not solely reliant as we're a mortgage brokers, because a lot of mortgage brokers, people think, I'll go get my mortgage and then that's it. Ultimately, mortgages from a revenue perspective, it's a volume business, because you don't earn a great deal from a mortgage. You earn your money with the additional services that you provide. So a lot of the mortgage companies, as soon as, oh, well, we're not buying, we're not moving, 80% of their revenue dropped. So for me, I think that biggest learning is don't be solely reliable on one income stream, and don't think those biggest customers are going to last forever, because, you know, there's been some massive companies that have collapsed over this time. So to me, that's the biggest learning. Don't rely on one source of income or one source of leads.
Yeah, and just to chip my 10 pence in on that, I think trust your instincts as well. You know, there's plenty of things going on in your market, in your lane, but think outside the box. And you know, if you spot an opportunity and you think, you know what, if we do it right, this is gonna be a win for everyone. Because you know, if we can get it right as a company, all of our like self-employed advisors are going to win. And that's what we did with the marketing that we put in place. We took it is a gamble, isn't it? Because nothing's guaranteed, but we trusted ourselves, and it's paying off now. So I think, yeah, what Josh said, you know, the lead stream, you know, trusting your instincts on that, I think that would be my one.
Brilliant. And what about as business owners and leaders of a team, in terms of your leadership style and how you've had to flex that and adapt over the course of the last year? What would you say is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself in terms of being a leader?
Well, I think it's no it's no secret that me and Josh are probably the two most laid back leaders that you're ever going to meet. But you know, every now and again, you know, I think, you know, we were talking about it the other day, weren't we, Josh? The fact that, you know, we both went to uni, did business management, Josh did business finance, and that's basically the theory test, isn't it? But obviously we're driving now, and that's where you learn every day. And I think as leadership, I think over the last 6 months, definitely for me, because I'm more involved in, you know, the guys and girls that are involved in us. I think it's made me stronger and a bit more, you know, like open to, having difficult conversations with people. Whereas back in the day, I'd have just gone, oh well, you know, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas now, I'm quite happy to, you know, if people aren't, you know, if it's not right for them, I'll quite happily say, look, this isn't right for you. Unfortunately, you know, it's horrible letting people go, but you've got to. And I think that for me, that's my biggest learning curve as a leader, is that kind of thing.
I think when you're a small business, especially a family business, you try to keep everyone as friends. You think of family first rather than actually we need to make business decisions, and unfortunately business decisions tend to be difficult.
Yeah.
You know, whether it is letting someone go or having that difficult conversation to say you're not doing well enough, why not? Let's try and help you first and foremost. But if it's not there, you've got to think business wise, and it is hard. I mean, we've had some hard conversations, and me and Lewis have both, you know, you have to go for a walk around the block after doing it, because we're not naturally those hard-nosed business people. But unfortunately, we've grown to the size now where we have to make those hard decisions. Otherwise, ultimately, it's us that suffer and the business that suffer, which then trickles down to the 30 people that we employ. So we can't do that. I think we've also learned to be a bit more sympathetic, because again, you've known us a long time. You probably know what we're like when it comes to someone. If they, you know, we're a bit like, oh, just get over it, you'll be fine. So although we've had to be harder in some situations, we've also had to learn to be a little bit more sympathetic in others. Some might say not sympathetic enough, but for us, we've made a big step into being a bit more sympathetic, because it is a difficult time that we're going through, and not everyone can't be strong every day.
Yeah, and it was harder for me with that last point, just being ex-military. So, you know, that 4-finger pointing people in the office. Yeah, it's been good.
Brilliant. And what does the future look like for you guys? What does the future hold?
Well, I think more growth. You know, we're looking at other offices, and we've identified really strong people within the business that we'd like to push and help them grow their own team under our branding. So I think that's where we're looking at going.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, we've got some good people who are wanting to come and join us now as well, who have already said that what their ambitions are, and will support that. So again, another thing about our business compared to some of the others that we speak to within the network, a lot of people in the network are trying to stop people outgrow them, whereas we're more than supportive. I mean, we've had a lady during this period say, do you know what, I want to set up on my own.
Yeah.
And we've supported that. We've not closed the door. We've said, we'll help you any way that we can. If you're struggling, feel free to come back to us. You know, the door's not closed. So we don't try and suppress people's ambitions as well, because ultimately the better they do, the better the company does, and then everybody benefits. So yeah, for us, we've just taken on some more admin staff to support the advisors, and like I say, it's a very exciting time really to go, because HSBC are now sacking all of their advisors, so we've got a couple of people from HSBC as well as other areas of the mortgage world. So no, it's really good.
Scooping up the talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's it.
Brilliant. Well, listen, thank you so much for giving us some of your time this morning. I know you guys are really busy with everything that you've got going on, so we really appreciate you sharing your story and what you've learned, and how things have been going with you guys for the last year. So thank you ever so much. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
That's great. Thank you.
It's great to see you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. What was your takeaway from today's interview? Please post it in the comments below and subscribe for all our upcoming videos, or click for the next video here.